Okay, I'm getting pretty close to wanting to do the stem. The stem, how I do stems. Let me zoom out so I can show you the whole picture here. Now I've got the stem drawn in here, and I'm going to use Daniel Smith Nickel Azo Yellow, which actually is a little dirty there, so I think I will go ahead and get myself some new Nickel Azo Yellow from Daniel Smith. And what I'm going to do on the stem is I'm going to allow green to happen. I'm not going to paint the stem green. I'm going to use two colors, at least two colors, and they're going to be my Nickel Azo Yellow and Indigo. So what I'll do is I will go up and get my brush good and wet, but it's my fine brush, it's my number 3. And I'm just going to wet the stem. And I'm going to, I've got these little spiky things that are coming up because they are just interesting to me. And I would encourage you to put in a few more if you would like. You can do that after you have got your stem in to see if you need some more interest somewhere. But they do add an interest that is quite appealing for this. So I'm wetting the entire stem. I'm going to leave these sections that aren't connected for now because I've got enough to do with just this main stem. And I'm putting on a fair amount of water, but before I put my color in, I will make sure I don't have too much. I'll make sure I don't have a big bubble of water, because if I do, my paint's going to spread out too much, and then I'm going to lose my nice definition. So I'm going all the parts, all the stems that I changed this stem here. It was up here and I didn't like that. So I changed it and I brought it down here. So later on I will erase that. And I'm going to go right down here and I'm going to make this an uneven end. Now what have I got going on here? Okay, I've got one going over here and one going up to this one. I'm going to lean over and look to the side to see what I've got. And I don't have a lot of light to help me see exactly how much water I've got on here. It seems to me it's probably okay. I want the right amount of water. I want enough water so that the paint moves, but I don't want it to be moving too much and blending too much, because then I'm going to lose my look. And the reason I'm using Nickel Azo Yellow for this is because it's a very assertive yellow. And it will come in and it will blend with this indigo. The indigo wants to sit still. So I'm putting the indigo, I'm assuming that there's a little bit more light over on this side of the paper up here. So I'm going to put my indigo on this side of the stem, just right along the edge, and not uniformly, just touching it here and there as it feels like I should touch it. And it is just still a little bit too wet, so I'm not going to continue on down, but I'm going to finish up here. Okay, so the next thing I will do is put a little bit of water in my Nickel Azo, and on the other side of the stem, the sunny side, I'll touch that in. And those two are going to go and blend together. and make themselves into a green. I'm absolutely not touching uniformly here. Now, this is, the indigo isn't as sharp as I would like to see it, so I will go in and after it's dried, and just touch, after it's dried fairly much, but not all the way. I'll just touch it again on that edge to make a little bit more definition. Now that is how I make my stems. I wish it was a little drier. Let's see what it will do if I touch it in now. Yeah, see that's adding there to it. Need it a little bit more. And I'm going to go up and form this. This is just a kind of a wobbly little stem. I don't want a straight line. And now I'm tying the flower stems in with the indigo. So this flower is on the very tip, and I want to make sure that it feels like it's attached. So I'm going to pull some indigo down there, down here. Keeping in mind where there is shadow, underneath is going to be darker. So I'm going to enhance the indigo right at the base of where the stem attaches to where the flower stem attaches to the main stem. Okay. Now let's see how we're doing down here. Now it seems to be too dry. So I'm going to get my wash brush and I'm going to just dab in some water, not pulling that indigo. I just want that water to go in and touch it on its own. So I better make sure I've got enough up here. There, I like how that indigo is. Let me get down in here. I like how this indigo is spreading right here. That amount of spread is great. I'm going to go ahead and get my nickel azo with a different brush so I don't have to keep washing that brush off and wasting paint. I don't like to waste paint. So I'm just touching the edge. So the indigo goes on the dark side of the stem, and the nickel azo goes on the light side. And I want a fairly thick paint so that it will stay there and be distinct on the side in some places. And then I'm going to touch in here. So you see how that's making an interesting stem. Much more interesting than if I was going to just draw my brush down and paint the thing. It's like, sometimes, some places it doesn't have any color at all. Okay, let's go up here, see what we've got up here. I don't even know where my water was because the way I drew this. I was kind of sloppy with my drawing, I guess. Okay, but it'll work just fine. One thing I would like to do is I'm going to put a little bit more indigo up here on this flower. and pull it down. And I'm also going to put a little bit of nickel azo here because it would be kind of interesting, I think, to have a little bit of green just pulled up into the ends of the flowers, the ends of the petals. I don't know, it just kind of struck me. So let's see how that works. Oh yeah, see, I like that. And that just came to me just then. So, allow your ideas, your creativity, your individual creativity to dictate what you do with your painting. I kind of like that green in there. So I'm going to do that some more. So this flower, I want to finish with a few of these flowers here. I feel like I have belabored this painting long enough. I don't like my paintings to take very long. I'm an impatient painter. Okay, I'm just going to go down this side and finish this one. I've got a little bit of, I guess there's some water in there. I'm making these stems all seem like they are together now. That they are one. Okay, there we go. A little of my nickel. And I'm going to go up with my indigo. Let's see, how does this flower go in my head? I'm creating this right as we speak. I think I want it darker. I just want more darkness in this. But I like that little light spot. I'm going to just leave that little white spot because I like it. All right. And now let's go down here and see what we've got for our stem going on. Okay, this flower down here, this flower is coming off the other side of the stem. So I want that to be obvious. This one, however, is coming out the front of the stem. So I'm going to leave a space for that to be there. Okay. I've spent enough time up there now. I think I'm going to have lost my water, so I'm going to enhance that a little bit. Again, I'm still working with my indigo. Okay, now this flower needs a little bit more definition. So I am going to, but I don't want to go nuts with the depth on that one. So I think I'm just going to add I think maybe I'll go with just some ultramarine on this one and just kind of pull, define it just a little bit here. Okay, and on the bottom, just a touch of Indanthrene too. Just give it some curvature and some depth. And with my wash brush, I'm going to lose the end of the stem a little bit. And I like that little touch of green down there. With my wash brush, I'm going to pull that color up again because I like it. Oh, I like that. That just brings it out to me. I like that. Just spur of the moment, hey, I wonder how that would work. Now see how this is really turned green here. That's good. Okay, I'm not going to mess with it anymore because I don't want it more uniform than that. this one down here needs a little bit of ultramarine here and there. It just needs a little bit of something to draw the viewer's eyes to it. And I'm being very careful here because the stem is quite wet. So I'm not going to the very edge of the petals. And now I switch to indanthrene here. And I think over on this side over here, I'm going to do a little bit more bright blue. Shading down into indanthrene in the center. I'm going to erase the lines here, and I'm just going to leave these upper petals. I don't really see that. I'm not being called to do anything with those. This one needs just a touch more on the bottom. A couple petals, 3 petals. Okay, that does that for me. I'm going to put a little bit of indanthrene down here and let it come out a little bit. Same with this one to define this lower edge. And this one as well. I'm going to go just another layer darker on this one. This one is in the shadow. I see this one as being in the shadiest one that's in this group of flowers. So I'm doing that. Okay, now let me see, what does this one need? Looking at each one and deciding what it needs. I think it needs a little bit of ultramarine up here, maybe here too. Just to make it pop out a little bit more. That one's done. I would like to see a little bit of bright blue on this one. Just a touch. Not a lot, just a little touch. So now I'm looking over the whole picture. I'm trying to stand back and see what I've got. If I'm finished or if I'm not finished. I'm going to let this dry for a while, step back from it, and just take a look at it before I make my decision on whether it's finished. I'm back again and the painting is dry. And I'm going to take an eraser, just a dime store eraser. This is a pink pearl. They're all different kinds of erasers. I am not an eraser snob, and you can use what you've got as long as it doesn't mark the paper. Okay. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for for the purposes of this class, I'm going to be finished with this painting. I've gone over how I do sharp lines, I lose some lines. I probably will look at this picture for several days, or I should say not look at it for several days. And I probably will flatten it. And then I'll come back and look at it again and see what it needs. I'm really liking this little bit of green that I pulled into some of the flowers, and I might do that more in more places, but then again I might not, because you don't want to do a thing like that all over. It kind of loses its punch when you do. Well, we've come to the end of this course, and I really enjoyed painting the picture and discussing how I do it and my philosophy on art, and my philosophy on the freedom of painting without a picture and without a subject in front of you. And I hope that it has helped you, and that it has made an impact on the direction your art will take in the future. And I hope that you will take a look at my other courses and see if there's something else that strikes you and you would like to watch. So I will see you next time. If you would like to leave a student comment, I would appreciate that. And happy painting. Thanks again. Bye-bye.